Jeff Rook says, I'm curious how you see the world going. I find myself simultaneously hopeful and pessimistic. It's nice to see people waking up to the corruption of systems that view us as commodities, but I just see the matrix happening in reality. The populace is right to stand up to the machine, but not only is war incoming, war, conflict, argument, struggle, not necessarily guns blazing, but there's no way to know what shape the world will take on the other side. I feel like the conflict has gotten away from us. So I've been thinking it's best to just prepare ourselves to shape the new world on the other side of it. Yeah, look, I think there's, I don't think I'm far off from that. I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of sadness, and sort of, I think the world is transitioning right now in major ways. Like, for example, it bums me out to see my idea of what the United States was in terms of a global leader, a pillar of justice, an idea of sort of competency, a place where liberty can just run and reign free, where we have, all of these sort of natural rights bled into the Constitution and the system of governance that we exist in. Like, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful concept. I believe in it. And to watch that just, year after year, just slowly evaporate. No, you are now locked in your homes. No, you now have to do this. No, we now take control of your property because we're the CDC. You can't even talk about this stuff anymore because we say so and we own everything. Right? All of that stuff, it's been a real hard thing for me to sort of wrap my head around. I don't want to wake up here and come on a show and say our government is garbage and useless and they are making our lives more miserable. I would prefer not to do that. I'd rather wake up and just have a nice government where everything runs and functions, but it doesn't. And the government that was supposed to be promising us liberty via the social contract that we all engaged in is not doing that. They are breaching their end of the bargain. They are violating the contract. They are violating our natural rights, and there needs to be consequences for that. And we're seeing them. We're seeing a disengagement from many people who are the actual movers of society. The people who get things done are not running for office anymore. They're not running to be a part of these global orders. They're building separate parallel systems. And many of those things are not taking place in the United States anymore because of the environment that we have created for ourselves and what we have done to the people who actually make things work in our world. And as that continues to evolve, I think the bifurcation, the self-sorting is going to continue. And we're going to see people who want to be plugged into the system. They're going to go sign up for the government ID, get their universal basic income, and they'll be good little slaves. And that's okay. That's fine, right? People have the free choice to go do that stuff. That's the centralized authoritarian model. And that's what you see with China and largely big government. And I would say both parties on both sides of the aisle want that, because it consolidates their power, right? It gives them more ability to continue to be leaders. But the rest of the world doesn't need those old systems anymore. The government doesn't provide much in terms of services that we actually need or use. We can get all of those things elsewhere. And once we start to build our own parallel economies and parallel systems and parallel communities that aren't in the hierarchy of the old world, we're going to be freer. And it's a scary transition. It's like an animal coming out of a cage. You look around, you're going, this is scary out here. What is out here? We don't have this big federal government to take care of us anymore. This is scary. We have to walk out on our own. Yeah, it feels uncomfortable. I believe it. I totally understand what you're saying. So there is some pessimism there, but I think that's the newfound freedom. That's the slave walking out of Plato's cave, recognizing there's a lot more out here. And we don't need these shackles anymore. The federal government was a necessary thing of a bygone era, but it's no longer effective. It's now problematic. It's one of the most problematic things in most of our lives. And we're all starting to wake up and realize that.